That is mom?
Grace mogul Sean Diddy Combs.
Damn, why they got my man looking like the KFC bull?
Diddy Combs goes on
Colonel
trial
Sanders
today.
head
Combs
ass.
is inside the courtroom along with those prospective jurors.
A musician famous for hits like Bad Boy for Life.
Not this one. You might not survive this one, my boy.
Can't nobody hold me down.
I mean, the jury probably could hold you down.
He used his power to force women into prolonged drug-fueled orgies he called freakoffs, and then threatened them into silence. The disturbing scene appears to show Combs chasing her down a hotel hallway in 2016, knocking her down and kicking her. The first evidence shown to a security guard who came onto the scene in the aftermath of that attack testified that Diddy had a devilish stare and Cassie had a purple eye. Another witness alleging he was paid to have sex with Cassie while Diddy watched and told to urinate on Cassie.
You heard so much.
Prosecutor Emily Johnson saying, "This is Sean Combs. To the public, he was Puff Daddy, or Diddy, a cultural icon, a businessman larger than life. But there was another side to him, a side that ran a criminal enterprise." During opening arguments, prosecutors alleged that Diddy forced the women to participate in so-called freakoffs and instructed Cassie and Jane how to look, to dress in lingerie, wear tall platform high heels, and have manicured white nails. Diddy's defense arguing the sexual relationships were consensual and not coerced, saying the rapper lived a swinger's lifestyle.
He may have committed domestic violence, but those aren't the crimes the defense said that he's charged with. So in effect, the argument is he's a criminal, just not the kind of criminal they say he is.
Where that surveillance video was taken.
Where the pictures and the
first
tapes, where the
witness, an
other
LAPD officer who worked security at the hotel, he says he responded to a call for a woman in distress on the 6th floor. The security guard described going back to Diddy's hotel room and standing in the doorway while Ventura grabbed her things. Inside, another man sitting at the corner of the bed.
So from the very start, the first witness brings the jury into that hallway where he said Sean Combs looked at him with a devilish stare and Cassie Ventura had a purple eye.
Second witness to take the stand, Daniel Phillip, a man who said he was paid to have sex with Cassie on multiple occasions at several high-end New York City hotels while Diddy watched. During these meetups, he says Diddy would often give directions and at times tell him to step off and back up because he was going to get some.
Bro looked like the
Sean Combs' children, his mother, came to court to support him, but when the testimony became graphic about ejaculation, about urination, that was too much. They turned and walked out again.
Phillip also described witnessing Diddy drag and hit Cassie. When asked by prosecutors why he didn't intervene, he testified, "My thoughts was that this was someone with unlimited power, and chances that even if I did go to the police, that I might still end up losing my life." Cassie, who's
Ventura told Combs in a text that she wanted to take part in the freak-off because she had a movie premiere, but she also didn't want to mess up her body. But she testified she told him she wanted to do the freak-off so she wouldn't sabotage her movie premiere, which was coming up. And Ventura said Combs hit her, so she decided to leave. After he hit me, and I just saw the result of it, I knew I had to get out. So when he was distracted, I don't know exactly what he was doing. He was either in the shower or on the phone. I just grabbed my stuff and ran out as fast as I could. Throughout the freak-offs, Cassie said there were sessions. In between the sessions, she and Combs would take more drugs. And she said there were times she suffered side effects from the drugs, and she admits she would often take them just to cope. Johnson asked, "How often would you get sick from taking MDMA or ecstasy?" Ventura responded, "Almost every time, like before the actual high hit, I would feel like vomiting. It was usually like a normal thing." Johnson asked, "Would you vomit or would you just feel nauseous?" Ventura responded, "I would actually vomit, yeah." Johnson asked, "Did Sean know about the effects that ecstasy and MDMA had on you?" Ventura responded, "Yeah." Johnson asked, "How?" Ventura responded, "Because he would see me in the bathroom or I would tell him so he would just know." Johnson asked, "What, if anything, would Sean say when you got sick from MDMA or ecstasy?" Ventura responded, "He didn't say much, but if we were in the freak-off, he would be encouraging me to get up and continue on with it in that condition." Those were not the only drugs Ventura said Combs would ask her or escorts to take. Johnson asked, "Were there any occasions where Sean offered the escorts drugs like Viagra?" Ventura responded, "Yeah." Johnson asked, and who else besides escorts did Sean offer Viagra to? Ventura responded, he offered it to me before. Johnson asked, and what did he say about you taking Viagra? Ventura responded that it has the same effect on women, just sensitivity. Johnson asked, do you take the Viagra that he offered you?
Nope.
Ventura responded, I did.
Yeah.
Johnson asked, and how did you feel?
She got a boner.
Ventura responded, sensitive and engorged. Johnson asked, did you want to take the Viagra? Ventura responded, no. I thought, no, I didn't. It was his fantasy. He was controlling the whole situation. He was directing it. He was doing the lighting. He was telling us where to be, what to say, how to act in the room. Johnson then asked, and you testified that you would sometimes move straight to oral sex. Why would you want to move to the next sex act? Ventura responded, I would just try to speed the process along. It was personally, if I get it done, then it's over. And then we move on to the next thing. I just wanted it to be over. While on the stand, Cassie detailed the planning process that goes into a freak-off. Sean Combs entrusted her to reach out to the male sex workers. Johnson asked, when you were reaching out to an escort, what, if anything, would you say to the escort about what you were hiring that escort to do? Ventura responded, it depended on the situation, how they came in. But I would usually say that my husband is into something called voyeurism and he likes to watch me with another man.
See, that's that white people shit right there. He was black up until this point. Ain't no way I'm letting another man touch my wife while I watch. If you gonna cheat on me, go cheat on me. If you want permission, ask for a hall pass. But me watching you as another man do what I'm supposed to be doing to you and then turn around and be cool with it afterwards, you a different type animal, bro. That's like, yeah, go ahead and cheat on me. I want to watch. That's creepy. Nah, you was black up until that point, my guy.
That sometimes Sean asked you to ask if a person was a cop, right? Ventura responded, yeah. Johnson asked, and you said later, I learned about why. Ventura responded, yeah. Johnson asked, what did you learn? Answer from Ventura, I learned that this whole situation was not legal. One of the defense attorneys objected. The judge sustained the objection. The jury should disregard the witness's last answer. Now, there were times when Cassie Ventura said she would actually use a fake name when reaching out to these people. It was Jackie Starr, and Combs would use pseudonyms. They were Frank Black and Frank White. Johnson asked Ventura, in the beginning, was Sean open at the freak-offs about his true identity? Ventura responded, he was not. Johnson asked, how, if at all, did he disguise his identity? Ventura responded, well, he started with the masquerade masks. Sometimes he would wear a hat or something covering his face. Johnson asked, were you open about your true identity? Ventura responded, I was not either. Johnson asked, and what, if anything, did you do to hide your identity? Ventura responded, the same thing as far as the mask. I would wear wigs. Johnson asked, who asked you to wear a wig? Ventura responded, Sean. Cassie Ventura disclosed how much money the escorts would typically make to the jury. Johnson asked, for the escorts who you interacted with, what were they paid thousands of dollars to do? Ventura said, to ejaculate, to finish. Johnson asked, is that after they finished having sex with you? Ventura responded, after having sex, after a long session. Johnson asked, and for all the dancers you interacted with at freak-offs, were those individuals paid as well? Ventura responded, yes. Johnson asked, how much were those dancers paid when they came to freak-offs? Ventura responded, anywhere between that range that I said before, $1,500 to $6,000 or $7,000. And you, who, if anyone, would tell them where to ejaculate? Ventura responded, Sean was usually right there directing it where it could be. Johnson asked, were there occasions when escorts ejaculated without having been told to do so? Ventura responded, yes. When you would go into the other room and you said Sean asked you to put semen on him, Ventura responded,
What?
Johnson then said, did you do that?
What? Did she just say Diddy asked for her to come put the cream on him? Nah. If this true, bro, a different animal.
Johnson asked, where did you put it? Ventura responded, usually on his chest, on his nipples. Johnson asked, did you want to do that?
Just said, bro be asking to put the cream from another man on his body. On his chest. Oh my, this is disgusting.
And what did Sean do when escorts were having trouble with erections? Ventura said, he would give them a pep talk. I don't At the end, they definitely didn't get paid the normal amount. I know that. Asked, you mentioned that the baby oil was used because you had to be glistening. Ventura responded, Johnson asked, who told you that you needed to be glistening? Ventura responded, Sean, it was his preference. Johnson asked, how frequently would baby oil be applied to be glistening? Ventura responded, like every 5 minutes. It was a lot. Johnson asked, what, if any, comments would Sean make about needing to apply baby oil? Ventura responded, he would, if he felt like you were too dry, he would let you know. Johnson asked, what would he say? Ventura responded, he would say, you're too dry. You need to put more oil on, or you need to be glistening. You need to be, you need to be shining. How many bottles of baby oil would be used in a typical freak-off? Ventura responded, a
10.
lot. I would say definitely somewhere close to 10. Johnson responded, what size were those bottles? Ventura responded, the larger size bottles. Johnson asked, were there freak-offs where you ran out of baby oil? The defense objected, Your Honor, at this point, it's getting a little cumulative. The judge responded, let's see if we can wrap this up and move on. Johnson followed up with the question, you also mentioned Astroglide. How was that used at the freak-offs? Another objection came from the defense. Irrelevant. Emily Johnson said, Your Honor, it's a supply. And the court then went to sidebar. There was a period early on in our relationship where he wanted me to have a nickname for him, and I didn't want to call him anything that anyone else had called him. So he asked me what I called my grandfather, and I said, Pop Pop. Emily Johnson asked, how did you feel about calling Sean the same name you called your grandfather? Ventura responded, I thought it was weird at the time, and now I just feel like it was disrespectful.
That's
From
creepy.
Cassie Ventura's
You telling her
electronic
to call? That's dark. You want her to call you what she called her grandfather. I understand the age gap, that's acceptable in this day of time, but the fact that you want it to be, like, you want her to know, like, yeah, I'm as old as your granddad. Call me what you call, nah, what? No. It's getting darker. We going down a hole right now. Hold on.
As electronic devices that showed bruises that she says she suffered at the hands of Sean Combs. She also described for the jury having a freak-off in New York and taking the drug GHB and blacking out, going into what she called a G-hole. Ventura also described a time on a flight where she traded her seat to get away from Combs, but he found his way to her and showed her videos of the freak-offs, threatening to release them if he left her.